From the outside, our family looked perfect. My son, Daniel, drove a luxury SUV, lived inside a beautiful 5-bedroom house, and hosted elaborate holiday gatherings. Guests admired the sparkling chandeliers, polished marble floors, expensive artwork, and endless confidence radiating from both Daniel and his wife, Vanessa. Nobody noticed that every comfortable detail surrounding them had quietly depended upon my careful planning for years. They assumed retirement had made me harmless. They assumed gray hair meant weakness. They assumed silence meant surrender. I never corrected anyone. Silence always reveals more than arguments. I simply watched people become comfortable enough to expose their real character. Daniel had not always been selfish. After his father died unexpectedly, I worked 16-hour days managing our family textile business while studying accounting during late evenings. I paid every tuition bill, every medical expense, every unexpected emergency without complaint. When Daniel graduated, I transferred ownership of my successful distribution company into a trust designed to protect our family's future. He cried while thanking me. I believed every word. Then Vanessa entered his life. She was charming before marriage, attentive during the engagement, and dramatically different after the wedding. Little comments slowly replaced warm conversations. My cooking became old-fashioned. My advice became controlling. My surprise visits became inconvenient, even though Daniel still carried the spare house key I had paid to duplicate. Every criticism sounded small alone. Together, they quietly built a wall between mother and son. That Thanksgiving afternoon, 25 relatives filled the dining room. Crystal glasses reflected golden candlelight. Fresh rosemary, roasted turkey, cinnamon, butter, and warm bread filled the air with familiar comfort. I carried homemade pecan pie worth less than $20 beside bottles of wine costing nearly $300 each. Nobody thanked me for either gift. Vanessa stood before everyone, lifted her chin, and smiled with theatrical confidence. I immediately recognized the expression. She had rehearsed this moment. She wanted witnesses, not resolution. She wanted applause, not understanding. My heartbeat remained steady because something inside me suddenly became colder than disappointment. It became clarity. The woman insulting me believed she understood power. She had absolutely no idea whose signature kept their entire comfortable world alive. She would discover the truth sooner than anyone expected. I smiled, thanked every guest for coming, hugged my grandchildren, collected my coat, and quietly walked away. They celebrated victory. I prepared evidence, legal documents, canceled authorizations, and arranged one unforgettable lesson that would cost them everything they mistakenly believed already belonged forever. I drove home without turning on the radio. The silence felt cleaner than music. Every mile placed another layer of distance between emotion and decision. By the time I reached my condominium overlooking Lake Michigan, I had already outlined every step inside my mind. Revenge driven by anger burns quickly. Justice built on documentation lasts forever. The first phone call went to my attorney and longtime friend, Richard Collins. We had known each other for 34 years, beginning when he handled the legal paperwork after my husband's death. Richard answered before the second ring. "You sound calm," he said. "I finally am," I replied. He knew that tone. It meant I had already made my decision. Within an hour we met inside his downtown Chicago office. Thick folders covered the conference table. Every agreement I had quietly signed over the years appeared one after another. Daniel had never bothered reading most of them. Vanessa certainly never had. Richard adjusted his glasses and opened the first folder. The electric account. My name. The natural gas account. My name. The water service. My name. The internet. My name. The security monitoring. My name. The luxury central air conditioning lease. My name. He looked at me carefully. They've been living comfortably because you never transferred responsibility. I wanted stability for my grandchildren, I answered. Richard nodded without judgment. Next came the financial documents. The luxury SUV Daniel proudly drove every morning carried monthly payments of $1,485. Automatic withdrawals came directly from an investment account I controlled. The premium homeowner's insurance? Automatically renewed through my brokerage account. The landscaping company charging $1,900 every month? Paid through my business credit card. Even the weekly cleaning service billed $600 monthly to my account. Richard leaned back. They're funding their lifestyle with your generosity while publicly humiliating you. I won't argue with them, I said quietly. I'll simply stop protecting them. He smiled. That's completely legal. By sunset, every necessary document had been prepared. Automatic utility payments were revoked. The authorization for recurring electronic transfers was canceled. The leased cooling system was scheduled for retrieval under the contract's termination clause. Future vehicle installments were frozen pending reassignment. Every action complied perfectly with the signed agreements. No lawsuits. No shouting. No revenge outside the law. Just consequences. Before leaving Richard's office, I signed the final authorization with my favorite navy blue fountain pen, the same pen my late husband had given me on our 25th anniversary. Richard closed the folder. How are you feeling? Lighter. For what it's worth, he said, they'll probably call. They won't call to apologize. No. They'll call because something stopped working. The following days were unusually peaceful. I watered my balcony flowers. Read an entire mystery novel. Cooked fresh salmon with lemon butter. Walked beside the lake each morning while watching sailboats drift across the water. For the first time in months, my phone remained quiet. Not because Daniel respected my space. Because he hadn't noticed anything had changed. People rarely appreciate foundations until cracks begin appearing above them. The first crack arrived 6 days later. It began with a frantic voicemail at exactly 8:17 that Monday morning. His voice no longer carried confidence. Only confusion. Mom, call me back. Something's wrong with the power account. The payment didn't go through. I listened to the message once, then placed the phone back on the table. An hour later another voicemail arrived. This one sounded sharper. Mom, the bank says the car payment was rejected. Did something happen with your account? Still, I remained silent. 3 days later, Daniel hosted an important business meeting at his house. 2 potential investors were expected to discuss a partnership worth nearly $2 million. Vanessa spent the morning arranging flowers, polishing every surface, and bragging online about their elegant home. She believed appearances solved everything. At precisely 1:12 in the afternoon, the lights flickered. Then everything went dark. The central air conditioning shut down. The internet disconnected. The security system began beeping before losing power. Within minutes, the summer heat filled every room. Guests exchanged uncomfortable looks while Daniel repeatedly pressed light switches that no longer worked. Vanessa whispered through clenched teeth, "Fix it." He couldn't. The investors quietly gathered their briefcases. One apologized, saying they would reschedule. The other simply walked away. Their expensive meeting ended before the first presentation even began. Less than 30 minutes later, a towing company arrived to recover the leased cooling equipment according to the termination notice. Neighbors watched as technicians carefully removed the outdoor unit. Vanessa stood frozen on the front lawn. Daniel looked completely defeated. That evening my phone rang again. This time I answered. "Mom, please. Can we talk?" "Of course." He arrived alone the following morning. He looked exhausted. Dark circles surrounded his eyes. His expensive suit was wrinkled. He sat across from me without speaking for almost a minute. Finally, he whispered, "I didn't know." "I know you didn't. I thought we were paying everything. You never asked." Tears filled his eyes. "I failed you." "No, Daniel. You failed yourself. You confused independence with entitlement. You accepted generosity for so long that you stopped recognizing sacrifice. He lowered his head exactly as I had done at Thanksgiving. The difference was simple. My silence had protected my dignity. His silence exposed his shame. I don't expect you to pay my bills anymore, he said quietly. I just want another chance to be your son. I looked at him for a long moment. I'll always be your mother. But trust isn't restored with promises. It's rebuilt through actions. Over the following year, Daniel sold the luxury SUV, downsized to a modest home, and learned to manage every expense himself. Vanessa eventually admitted her behavior had been cruel. Whether her apology came from genuine regret or hard-earned humility, only she truly knows. As for me, I kept my company, traveled across Europe, volunteered at a literacy foundation, and filled my life with people who valued respect more than appearances. Every morning I woke without resentment because peace is the greatest reward after standing firm. Sometimes the strongest revenge is not destroying someone's life. It is removing the support they never appreciated and allowing reality to teach the lesson you never needed to explain. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Let me know in the comments what you would have done.